Last but far from least comes the prefrontal brain. This one is a marvel of evolution. It makes us, humans, unique, as no other living being has this brain structure the way we have it. Because, let's face it, everything we've seen so far, all three brain structures, are widespread in the animal kingdom. The reptilian and paleolimbic mode are so basic that using them puts us in a state where we have no connection anymore with our logical thinking abilities. On the other hand, it is true that in the neolimbic lies the essence of who we are as individuals, with our memories and motivations. Still, that doesn't make us human. Anyone who has a dog or a cat at home will be able to testify that those animals have their own character traits, likes, dislikes, and motivations. So it is the prefrontal brain that makes us human. Not so much the fact of having one, as some of the more evolved mammals actually also have a prefrontal brain. I'm thinking here, for example, dolphins, dogs, elephants, and the other great apes. The size of their prefrontal brain is actually the normal size. Ours is just ridiculously huge. It's almost as if it was pimped. And it is this oversized prefrontal brain that makes us truly human. How? Well, remember our caveman from the reptilian brain, the one who was being hunted down by a pack of wolves. Yes, him. Well, if you compare him with a cave bear, there is one thing that distinguishes both. Even though generations of cave bears lived for thousands of years in caves, never has a single one of them thought about decorating the place. I mean, putting a little paint on the walls, drawing some wild animals he's going to hunt. Okay, sure, bears can't paint. So what about the claws? Why haven't they used it to carve some nice patterns, or maybe just a signature type at the entrance to state the cave was theirs? Why? Prefrontal brain size, that's why. This prefrontal brain works like some kind of supercomputer on a totally unconscious level, drawing conclusions from all of the different sensorial inputs it gets, creating innovative combinations to come up with new ways to deal with the situation at hand. This way, the prefrontal mode is a champion of adaptation and creativity, especially suited for unknown and complex situations. As we saw before, the neolimbic brain works as some kind of autopilot, dealing with the world as we know it. It is the home of all our little habits and routines, which make us function very efficiently in our daily lives. So the prefrontal brain is the one dealing with new and complex situations. Let me correct that. The prefrontal brain should be the one dealing with new and complex situations. Because no, it's not always the case. Let me give you a couple of examples of automatic mode when adaptive mode would have made a huge difference. 12 publishing firms turned down J.K. Rowling's first Harry Potter book. Decca Records turned down the Beatles in 1962. The Titanic. I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers, said the IBM chairman in 1943. Who the hell wants to hear actors talk? That came from Warner Brothers in 1927. And Atari and HP turning down Steve Jobs' idea of a personal computer. Now I could go on like this for hours. Whenever someone thought of something new, there has always been others unable to see further than what currently is, failing to see what could be. They stayed stuck in their limbic mode when what they should have done is switch to their prefrontal brain. Now the point I'm trying to make is that when we use our limbic brain, we're not able to see further than what we already know, our existing experiences, hence the turning down of big opportunities. When we have to make decisions on new things, we should switch to our prefrontal brain. This one enables us to adapt to change and deal with complex decision making. It doesn't ensure we'll take the right decision, nor does it mean we'll agree with any change just for the sake of adaptation. No. It only means we'll use all our knowledge and creativity to be able to see a possible future and then make a decision, yes or no. This in contrast to the limbic brain, where we'll just reject the idea because it has never worked before. So the reaction of Warner Brothers, who wants to hear actors talk, it's a very good example of this. At this point in time in 1927, all movies were mute. His limbic brain couldn't imagine anything else. His prefrontal brain would have been able to. And maybe he still would have decided not to go for it. Maybe because of financial reasons, high investments, but not because he couldn't imagine people not wanting to hear people talk. Idem ditto with the IBM chairman stating there was a world market of maybe 5 computers. His limbic brain wasn't able to project a world with computers no larger than a book and much more capacity than at that time. Of course, not all change is good, neither is all resistance bad. Using our prefrontal brain when we need to helps us taking into account all the available information and taking the best possible decision based on that. Our prefrontal brain is also home to our creativity, intuition, spirituality, but also our adaptability. An indicator that our prefrontal brain is active is our emotions. We feel calm, serenity, in full control. We are on top of our game. This is the true land of possibility, right there behind our forehead, our prefrontal cortex, the marvel of evolution. So to summarize the prefrontal brain, this is the part of our brain which should switch on whenever we face a complex situation or we need to adapt to new circumstances. Unfortunately, often we don't, which leads to resistance to change and bad decision making.